Good morning. I'm we're going to go over Psalm 61. My name is Doug Beatty, minister at Westside Christian Church here in Parsons, Kansas. I introduce myself today because I'm going to post this on other forums, and just to make sure everyone knows who I am. Maybe this is the first time you've seen me. For 61 days now, this is the 61st, I've been doing a psalm a day. So we're on Psalm 61. We started May 1st, and now it's just about 2 months through this. Psalm 61 is a short psalm. They have all been fairly short up to this point, for that matter. And it opens with an idea. There's a little part right before the body of the work, an introduction, if you will, of the Psalms, kind of a subscript that shares with us who it's by, what it's about, who it's for, maybe the situation or circumstances in which this psalm was written. And this particular one doesn't say a lot, except for it is for the musicians, the temple musicians, and it was by David, and to be done with stringed instruments. A lot of times we read these psalms not really thinking about their singing them, or how they are sung, or with what kind of music or what kind of instrumentation is going along with this. And I just spent a little time on that, thinking about it today. It's not particularly all that special of a psalm, one as opposed to another. But they are often poetic of their own nature. Hebrew poetry is unique. It doesn't usually have to do with rhyming as much as we do in English. And it doesn't have quite the same kind of rhythm. And a lot of times it's about contrasts and similarities. And it's showing some contrast. A lot of the Proverbs, we see that. But in this particular psalm, there's and a lot of music and rhyming and things that we think of are nature, have verses. They're couplets, maybe two verses hung together, and then the next thought comes in line with a couple of verses, and that's what this particular psalm is. And it's a psalm of restoration. It doesn't say that anywhere, but you can kind of tell that's what he's asking for God to restore his presence with the people. And it starts out with a cry out to God, and it ends with a vow to praise God if these things happen. And then there's 3 sets of 2 verses inside this psalm, so there's 3 couplets of 2 verses. Hear my cry, O God, from the ends of the earth. Take me to the rock that's higher than anywhere I've been, a strong tower, a tower above his enemies. And David is recognizing, again, he has enemies. We see this in a lot of his psalms, that there are some challenges in life. There's always an enemy after him. And this may be in line or in keeping with the idea of Satan, the adversary, the one who is always after us, that doesn't like people who follow God's directions in the Old Testament, or the Christ's directions found in the New Testament as a follower of Jesus. And the real highlight for me is verses 6 and 7. I like this because even in Jewish literature, they started applying this to the Messiah, and by the times of the exile, they were recognizing, hey, there are no more kings. But here David is saying, increase my life as a king. The years for many generations. And may he be, and so now all of a sudden it sounds like maybe David's talking about someone else. Maybe be in God's presence forever. And maybe he's talking about himself. Maybe David knew what he was talking about exactly. Maybe he didn't. I suspect that David was just inspired to write these psalms throughout this book, the ones that are attributed to him. And some of those things were just kind of happening. He's in war, he's in pain, he's being chased, he just wants help, and he's crying out to God. And these kinds of things are what God would like for us to do. Cry out to him. Look to him for hope. Look to God for strength and for stability. Ask God to, as in verse 7, appoint your love and your faithfulness to protect us. God is a faithful God. God is a loving God. God is a powerful being. And he loves his creation. He wants his creation. But if his creation rejects him, he in the end will reject them. That's not in this psalm. But David is saying, hey, Lord, give him many years. And I could just see him applying this to Jesus. And Jesus, as the Messiah, as he is seen by Christians as the Messiah, he is standing at the right hand of God now. So he is enthroned by God's presence forever. This speaking of him in this way, I think it's just amazing that the Psalms do this. And then in the end, the vow to praise. Then I will sing of your name forever. Wow, what a deal to sing of God's name. I like to sing some. There are a lot of conventions I've gone to over the years. I purposefully came in late because it was like they're singing the same song, and they draw it out so much, and it just wasn't in my guts to want to stand there and do that. But I think my attitude should change when in heaven, and I'll be thankful. I'll have something. I think the veil will be lifted in my head, and I will look forward to singing, looking forward to giving God praise and honor, as we should now. We should give God praise and honor now. His vow is that I would sing of your name forever. And it kind of reminds me of sing of your love forever. Some songs that are maybe with that kind of thing in mind. But anyway, Psalm 61, we often don't think of Psalms as poems, but they are certainly of a Hebrew idea. And they may not always fit our concepts of what poems should be. But the real concept we should get out of this is that we have the author who cries for help, who recognizes God can deliver, and who vows to give him praise. And if we go back to Psalm 15, again, a vow, and the kind of person God really wants with integrity is one who will keep his promise, no matter how hard it is, and to give God praise, even in the time of trouble. I think that's a great, great vow to make. I don't know what vow you might make today. If it's just read the Psalm, get interested in what God has to say through these chapters. I'll see you tomorrow on Psalm 62. Have a great day, and God bless.